mantra recitation practice.
那么，首先像以往一样，我们今天呢，先把心带回家，我们一起再做一些这个课前的星座的念诵。
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows there's a lot of adversities, going around in this world. No question about the general samsaric, problems, sufferings. But even in this, better realm than the three-law realm in the human realm, there's so many problems like natural disasters. Just I think last 1-2 days, earthquake. Then there's bombing. All sort of natural and man-made sufferings. And at the same time, individually, there are people that who's going through tough time with their physical health, mental health, financial difficulties, relationship problems, you see. So therefore, it is our responsibility as one human family, one human society, especially as a follower of Buddha, follower of altruistic Dharma. So it's our full responsibility to do our very best to condition others to be free from those difficulties. So for that purpose, so we do this practice, okay?
那么大家都知道，现在在目前的世界各地的情况呢，就是天灾人祸，不断。那么在大的环境中面临着有疫情、人祸战争世界各地的纠纷。那么在个人的小的这个单位呢，我们比比皆是，这个苦和这个苦的现象比比皆是。很多的弟子的家庭或者自己本身有很多的健康的问题、事业的问题，当然是问题是不断，这就是轮回之苦。那么作为一个佛教的组织，作为一个佛教徒的一份子，作为一个团体，其实我们呢是对这个普世教这个普世呢是有一份责任的。什么样的责任？也就是说，我们可以把我们最好的心意，最好的这个祝愿呢，用这个祈祷的方式，用这个持咒的方式用这个累积功德的方式，把这些能量呢回向给世界，回向给人们。这是我们作为佛教徒的一个最起码的一份责任。因此呢，我们每一次在共聚的时候，我们不但自己为家人，并且替这个世界做这个祈祷和这个祈愿。
Yeah. So usually as a human nature, we focus more on ourselves, in particularly our own individual level. Then even we are able to expand our positivities, then sometimes we don't really go that far. We just hang around within our family members and close friends, and rest, somehow is forgotten. So, but that actual fact, the number wise, those in our lifetime, to those whom we don't know them in person. Then secondly, those whom we regard that, bit of troublesome, they are more vulnerable than our family members. They are surely more vulnerable than ourselves. So therefore, not just being vulnerable, but their relationship with us equally important as our loved one, more important than our own cherished life and the body and the mind. So therefore, it is a privilege, whenever we get a chance to think of all the other sentient beings, and in particularly those difficult people and those vulnerable, suffering sentient beings in our heart, and try to express sense of care, concern. It's a very precious, very, very heart-touching thing.
那么我们作为人的一个习性呢，就是我们会自然的是只顾自己，哪怕是我们生活中是非常美好，我们有很多的这些很多的好运，一般的做人呢都会只想自己。其实呢，作为一个修行人，作为一个佛教徒，我们应该呢，我其实不应该不是这样子，而是去把我们的心扩充到所有的人，这是非常重要的。因为一般人呢，是对这个世界的除了管自己的好坏之外，其他的都会忘记。而作为佛教徒呢，我们应该有一个普世的这个心。何为普世这份心呢？就是知道说那些我们不认识的众生，其实他们更加的可怜，他们更加的脆弱。其实他们对我们的重要性和我们家人和我们最亲爱的人对我们呢，其实是一模一样的。这就是普世的意思，代表说众生对我们其实都是有深厚的联系和平等。那么我们对待他们也应该发起这样一个珍惜之心。所以当我们有空暇去想及去照顾别人，去为别人去祈祷的时候，这不是一个负担，这呢反而是一种荣耀，这是一份很重要的荣耀。那么从心我们应该如此观想，从心底生出这份珍惜他人，视他人和我们一样重要的这样一心，去为他们去祈愿，去回向。
Like what we all know how Shantideva rightly said, all this suffering comes from our own self-cherishing mind, and all the happiness comes from cherishing others' well-being. So even in a very immediate level, when we dedicate our concern, the well-being of others, and the concern of, in particularly those who are really suffering right now, suffering of pain, and other sufferings like, suffering in the hell, suffering in the hungry ghosts, suffering that animals go through, suffering that other human beings that who are right in the middle of war zone, right in the middle of earthquake, right in the middle of fire, or right in the middle of the most devastating health crisis, compared to when we give our concern to them, the immediate, even though we are not wanting that, but immediate benefit what we receive, our problem, our inconvenience almost like disappear right there. It's like like instantly. Even you may be going through quite a big problem, but comparing the problem of health being, or maybe health being put aside, maybe we say, oh, I don't see them, but at least, we can see how human beings suffer. Unbelievable, those people who just died in the bombing, and their family members, the suffering. When we think of them, the suffering that what I go through is completely nothing. It just literally disappeared, so it's just so true. By occupying your mind all the time, thinking about others' well-being, all the time thinking about those well-being of those particularly suffering beings, is to free the focus of of notion of your own suffering. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's like Panadol. It's like so effective Panadol to your suffering. If you go to therapies, if you go to eat medicine, it won't be that effective. So we all should take this Panadol. We all should take Panadol because we all are subjected to roller coaster type of life, in different ways, isn't it? For some people, everything is all right, but it's still, it's still depressed. It's still very in trouble, isn't it? Mentally trouble, isn't it? So that's why this Panadol of like occupying your mind, focus, like that,
所以呢，这个吉天菩萨说，一切的痛苦来自自我珍惜，而一切的快乐来自于珍惜他人。那么我们如果看一看，为什么珍惜他人到底有什么好处，对我们什么好处？其实珍惜他人是一个最好的止痛药。这个止痛什么呢？止我们自己的痛。我们这样看，我们看看这个人道中，我们六道中的这个轮回中的苦，我们好好的思维这个苦的话，我们可以看到说，这个地狱道、畜生道、恶鬼道人的这些苦，再比比看这个人道现在世界各地所这个发生的种种的苦，如果我们想一想，这个把我们自己现在的这些问题和苦，如果我们把它比一比，和这个地狱道的这个苦你肯定想说，地狱道我想象不到、看不到，好，那当然是不用比。那我们看看现在人道，可以想这些在这个战争地区被爆炸往生的这些人，在这个地震中往生的，在森林大火中往生的，这些有严重病患的、正在受苦的病人。如果我们可以用想象，睁开你的想象力，把自己的苦和这些可以想象到的这些人类的苦的话，那很快的你会知道你的苦是不足为惜的。那当我们只是关心，只是专注，一心一意的专注在自己的那一点点苦的时候，我们的眼只会看到自己的身上。如果我们把这个眼光打开，去看到周围的苦，甚至所有人道的苦的时候，你会发现原来你这个苦其实是足不为惜。那么因此呢，这个去思念别人的苦，可以说像是一个止痛药。这个止痛药我们每个人都去服，这就是关心他人。打开我们的眼光去关心他人的时候，我们自己的苦就不足为惜。很多时候我们其实生活中没有什么大问题，但是你还是很沮丧，你还是要去看心理医生，这些都是自我珍惜心所造的罪。因此呢，当我们好好的去利用一下关心他人的这副药，这是一个最好的止痛药，每个人都该吃的。
Then some may think, if I focus on others' sufferings and the suffering that going around in the world, it really depressing me. It's kind of like instead of what I said just now happening, that rather it bring more kind of depressing mind. If we just kind of simply like just being busybody to just to see where the sufferings are, then yes, it may cause a depression. It may really depress you. But then you have if you see with the altruistic manner, with the purpose of knowing what's going around, in the world, the suffering nature of samsara, suffering nature of those vulnerable beings, that won't depress you. You see, that won't bring you down. The reason is the moment when you relate to them altruistically, your heart will fill with love, and the love is a great energy. Love is very positive energy. Love will not bring, the true love won't bring suffering. Your heart will be filled with the compassion. If you if your compassion is the genuine, what Buddha taught, that compassion, that's virtue. That won't bring suffering into you. Like you see, so this different we have to know. You see, yeah.
也许你会说我一天到晚去看别人的苦，这个世界苦，那我会不会很沮丧呢？如果只是一天到晚去这样想的话，其实呢，这不会。为什么呢？因为如果我们打开，我们用利他的这颗心去看待这个娑婆世界的苦，用利他的心，那么这是一份爱的能量。那么这个爱的能量本身呢，作为助缘呢，像一个干粮，它只会带给我们的心呢更多的正面的能量。因此呢，爱本身是没有苦的，是远离一切苦的。因此呢，我们以爱为干粮的时候，我们当然去看待苦的时候，不但不会给我们苦的感受，反而还会更加的增加我们的助缘，增加我们这个能量。因此，应该把这个利他心紧紧的镶在我们的内心之中，把它变成一个爱的助缘。
So you see, in Lamrim, one of huge topic and one of most important foundation to all the higher, stages of the path, which is meditation on, suffering, meditation on suffering, impermanent suffering, the general suffering of samsara, individual suffering of the individual realm. By reflecting on that in relation to your own samsaric existence, or reflecting on that others' samsaric existence, samsaric suffering, it brings renunciation, it brings liberation. It doesn't bring more suffering. By reflecting on the suffering and the falls of samsara, to really genuinely understand exactly what's going on, the suffering nature, that's the doorway to purify the suffering. That's the doorway to, overcome the samsara. That's the doorway to enter into the path. That's the doorway to achieve the liberation, isn't it? Now it makes sense. Is it now you can join what I'm trying to say before? Is it? So, but the thing is, I think many do the attitude of the eye that you use to to reflect on those suffering can go mistake, and because of that, it brings more suffering. As I mentioned before, if you use the eye of altruism, then you see the suffering of others, you generate compassion and altruistic love. Similar goes to you. When you're going through emotional suffering, physical suffering, if you use the eye lenses of altruistic attitude to look into your own problem, actually bring liberation. It won't depress you more. But our normal way, we are already suffering, and when we think of that suffering, actually really depressing, isn't it? It will really bring you down. So there's a fine line that we need to know how to differentiate.
那这边呢，如何去观苦呢？是菩提道次第教法中非常也知道，我们已经学习到是非常重要的所谓知苦了苦、知苦断苦。那么苦如何去正确的去学习苦的本质，并且呢去了这个苦呢，是一切菩提道次第一切修行的过程，也是这个修行的这个最终的目的。那么首先呢在菩提道次第的这个教法中，我们知苦呢，才是知苦了苦，才是进入大乘佛法修行的这个最重要的基础。那么也是尽除一切苦、尽除轮回的最重要的这个基础，也是知苦了苦。那么我们对这个苦的这个分析，问题是你对这个苦的分析用的这个我。是否是一个正确的这个我还是一个这是一个这个问题的这个根本究竟，也就是经常我们 当我们来用这个我的这个眼光去看待苦的时候，往往呢，我们忘记了这个，忘记呢是带上了这个小我，也就是说这个有过患的名言假例的，但是呢，我们却不知道名言假例不存在的我，我们应该把这个所谓大我，也就是说这个了知这个一切本质事物本质的这个明了的这个我，用这个我的眼光去看待苦，去禅思，去修行这个苦的本质。所以这个是问题的究竟。因此呢，当你把这个充满着菩提心、充满着利他精神的一个这样的一个我，以这个我来看待苦这回事的时候，你一定不会因此得到这个沮丧，你不会沮丧，你一定会反而有更加的能量。但是如果你是用这个有过患的这个迷惑的这个小我去看待这个情况的时候，往往也许你都会得到觉得是更加的沮丧甚至这个低沉有这样的现象。因此要把这个我要分清楚，是用哪一个我来看待这个问题。
So I think, it's very important to know this very finely tuned technique, to equip with our mindfulness, our awareness in our in our mind. I think it can be very, very useful in our day-to-day life, all throughout our journey of our life. Because in life, there's endless problems. Endless because it, I would say, until we discard, even we may be successful in our practice, in our continuum, but then until we discard this contaminated body, throughout this life, endless problem. It's endless problem of aging, endless problem of sickness, endless. Then we'll come to including the experience of death. Then day to day emotional ups and downs. Environmentally will cause imbalance, mind and body, etc., etc. So if we have this simple technique, always carry the right glasses, right lens, then you understand, you communicate, you relate with that lenses to all those situations. We can travel the journey with ease. You can travel the journey with full of meaning, even in the very painful suffering of suffering. We can even at the cost of death, you can go through full of meaning. Otherwise, quite a painful life, isn't it? Quite a problematic life. So this is very simple, very, very simple. That's very simple. We usually use it, but that fine tune, we just mix up. Okay, so for me, it's very, very useful. Very, very useful. Yeah.
所以这个我们这个如何去看待问题，用什么样的心态去来诠释解释这些苦的现象，这是一个非常细微的一个觉知的有关觉知如何练习觉知的一个技巧。那么如何去把这个技巧用到我们的人生中是非常非常重要，而且非常微细。这个技巧呢，也可以说就是我们看待问题，我们对待人生的种种的苦，其实这个世界我们不可否认的，我们大家都会同意是真的是很多问题，真的是很多苦，这个苦是不断的，我们自己的人生也好，他人的也好，世界也好，这个苦是永远是不断的，真的是很多。那么如何去对待看待，就像一副眼镜，这个技巧就是我们看待问题去这个过这个人生是用戴了是哪一副的眼镜，那么用这个眼镜去经历去看待这些问题呢， 他如何去看待，我们会有如何的一个不一样的人生。所以这才是一个修行的最重要的技巧，就是说如何在我们的在这个升起觉知之心，而那是有待于我们用如何的用哪一副眼镜，戴上了哪一副眼镜来看待问题。那我们知道说，这个有染的这个人生五蕴呢，它本身就是苦，而且这个苦呢，从这个出生到死亡，从头到尾只有越来越多。那么，如果我们我们戴上了一个正确的，也就是这个修行菩提心的这副眼镜啊，那我们去经历人生的时候，那无论是什么样的问题，甚至生老病死，甚至是死亡本身，我们都会有这样的一个能力，去安然的、坦然的去度过它。所以这个修行，也就是这个修行本身就是在交代我们如何去找到，并且戴上这个修行的眼镜去看待问题。
Oh, yes. 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 So, yes, we do the practice together. Okay.
我们用这样的心态来练咒。
Yeah, take refuge in Guru Buddha Dhamma Sangha, then full of sincere expressions of compassion, then you do the practice.
所以，请大家这个诚心的把这个戴上这副这个利他的菩提心的眼镜，来做结下的共修皈依，发起正确的皈依和利他之心，为所有的众生来祈愿。
Sangye Chetan Soje Jonala Janju Bardo Dani Jansun Je Daji Jinso Jebe Sonam Je Dola Penjere Sangye Rubarai Jo Sangye Chetan Soje Jonala Janju Bardo Dani Jansun Je Daji Jinso Jebe Sonam Je Dola Penjere Sangye Rubarai Jo Sangye Chetan Soje Jonala Janju Bardo Dani Jansun Je Daji Jinso Jebe Sonam Dola Penjere Sangye Rubarai Gange Duze Nezo Ne Dawa Damje Pambeche Dambeche Ne Denze Pepo Dam Dela Chatse Semje Damje Dewa Dam Deve Judan Dembra Juje Semje Damje Dunga Dam Dunga Je Judan Dawa Juje Semje Damje Dunga Mebe Dewa Dam Dawa Juje Semje Damje Nire Jada Nidan Dawe Danyo La Nebra Juru Je Semje Damje Dewa Dam Deve Judan Dembra Juje Semje Damje Dunga Dam Dunga Je Judan Dawa Juje Semje Damje Dunga Mebe Dewa Dam Dawa Juje Semje Damje Nire Jada Nidan Dawe Danyo La Nebra Juru Je Semje Damje Dewa Dam Deve Judan Dembra Juje Semje Damje Dunga Dam Dunga Je Judan Dawa Juje Semje Damje Dunga Mebe Dewa Dam Dawa Juje Semje Damje Nire Jada Nidan Dawe Danyo La Nebra Juru Tabje doje jaje re doje shinje mendo doje bujo ba seje lombo da bu sepe bu shaje jabo dela cha se lo daya tha om muni muni ma muni yeso 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 Daya tha om gade gade para sam gade bodhi yeso Daya tha om gade gade para sam gade bodhi yeso Daya tha om gade gade para sam gade bodhi yeso Daya tha om gade gade para sam gade bodhi yeso Daya tha om gade gade para sam gade bodhi yeso Daya tha om gade gade para sam gade bodhi yeso Daya tha om gade gade para sam gade bodhi yeso Omo ahun benzara guru pema sete. 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 Mime zeve derjen jere ze deme jembe ombo jambe ya. Debo male jonze sanwe da kanji jembe zujen zonga pa losan tabe shamla sowa. Mime zeve derjen jere ze deme jembe ombo jambe ya. Debo male jonze sanwe da kanji jembe zujen zonga pa losan tabe shamla sowa de mime zeve derjen jere ze deme jembe ombo jambe ya. Male jumzen sanwe da kanjen jembe tsujen zonga. Lozan dabe shabla zowa de mingme zewe terjen chenre se teme jembe ombo jambe yang. Male jumzen sanwe da kanjen jembe tsujen zonga. Lozan dabe shabla zowa de mingme zewe terjen chenre se teme jembe ombo jambe. Male jumzen sanwe da kanjen jembe tsujen zonga pa lozan dabe shabla zowa. Mime zeve derjen chere se teme jembe ombo jambe yang tu male jomzen sangwe da kanjen jembe zujen zonga pa popsan tabe shabla suwa. Mime zeve derjen chere se teme jembe ombo jambe yang tu male jomzen sangwe da kanjen jembe zujen zonga. Lozan tabe shabla suwa. Om mani peme hum, mani peme hum, mani peme hum, om mani peme hum, om mani peme hum, om mani peme hum, mani peme hum, mani peme om mani peme hum, mani peme hum, mani peme hum, om mani peme om mani peme hum, mani peme hum, mani peme hum, om mani peme Om mani peme hum, mani peme hum, om mani peme hum, om mani peme hum, om mani peme hum. Om dare du re so ha, 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 om dare du re so ha. Omo dare du re zo ha, omo dare du re zo ha, omo dare du re zo ha, omo dare du re zo. Omo dare du re zo ha, omo dare du re zo ha, omo dare du re zo ha, omo dare du re zo ha. Omo dare du re zo ha, omo dare du re zo ha. Omo dare du re zo ha, omo dare du re zo. Omo dare du re zo ha, omo dare du re zo. Omo dare du re zo ha, omo dare du re zo. Omo dare du re zo. Tayata omo beganze ma beganze ranza samu gade so Tayata omo beganze ma beganze ranza samu gade so Tayata omo beganze ma beganze ranza samu gade so Tayata omo beganze maha beganze rada samu gade so Tayata omo beganze maha beganze rada samu gade so Tayata omo beganze maha beganze rada samu gade so Tayata om beganze Ma beganze randa samu gade so. Om Mare Zemam Soha, 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 Om Mare Zemam Soha. Yeah, so please dedicate strongly from the depth of your heart, all sentient being, for your family members, for yourself. And all of you, I keep in depth of my heart, like now and day to day, during practice prayers, or each and every one of you and your families in my heart, and I pray like that. So you also rejoice and also pray together. It can be very helpful, to actualize inner peace and to overcome obstacles in life.
那请大家有心的这个为自己家人和一些众生呢做这个祈请，这个回向。那么我在你们大家在我的心中呢，我每天都在我的修行回向中呢，都会紧紧的在记着你们每一位的弟子啊，在这边的为大家在回向。那么我们今天当我们一起共修的时候。当一起的这个回向的力量是非常大的，所以我们大家呢，利用这个机会，诚心的，我们一起为所有的众生，为自己，也为所有的众生一起这边回向和发愿。
Maybe no one in this group, but sometimes, we human beings come to a position that is almost like life corner you somewhere. You feel like, no one is there for me. No one is thinking about me. No one loves me. Sometimes, people go through that, So I'm sure in this group, no one is like that. But if in case, if due to karma, due to circumstances, you feel like that, you remember I am with you. At least, I am thinking of you. I care for you. I pray for you, So please remember that.
也许在我们这里的同学们还没有这样子还没有发生在我们这边的任何同学，但是其实这个世界上有些人呢，他们非常困难，有的时候会觉得好像走投无路的这种感觉，好像世界上所有的这个当碰到一些问题，碰到觉得是走投无路的这种感觉时候，请记住呢。觉得这个事情没有任何人关心，没有任何人去爱他或者关心他。如果是碰到这样的情况的时候，请记住呢，我个人的祈祷，我个人的心呢是跟你在一起的，你不是一个人你永远不是一个人，请记住。
Dāgī jāwā tam jē tāng kēpar yē lā sāmbē tēn tēnyē kēmē tsē chū tū tūpa lā mē chī jē lō dāchā chūngwē chē tsē chū tū chū mē chū yāng sā sō sēm tē sēm mē lē chū mē jī kwa kwe lē nyū tō jā tō sō jē wā tē nyū tō tāng wā tsē chē mā chūp chū nē tō wā chē jā mā lē bā tē yē sā lā ngē bā lā Chambe bawe chitra jemba dang, gundo zambo deyang de jinje, deta gunje jezo dalo je, jawa deta damje rabu, desung jebe jawa tamje de, nguwa kanga judo ngaba, daje jebe zawa de gunjang, zambo jeje rabu nguwa rai, semje ne ba jinye ba, nyudo ne le da juje, dowe ne ne ma le ba, dado juwa me prasho. Pama semje tamje dendan de yurje, ngeto tamje tatu tongwa dang, chachu sempa kana sujo pa, teta gwenje molam jokjuro. Bedan zowa mi gebe, yishe nobu pa zamje, semje rewa kunzo pe, samba chujin rupe, taji yo. Okay, thank you. Yes, anyone you prepare to read the foundation of good quality, please do so.
Yeah, we have
Yes.
English and Chinese. Please, the
Thank you.
English speaker first.
English speaker first. The foundation of all good qualities is the kind and perfect pure Guru. Correct devotion to him is the root of the path. By clearly seeing this and applying great effort, please bless me to rely upon him with great respect. Understanding that the precious freedom of this rebirth is found only once, is greatly meaningful, and is difficult to find again, please bless me to generate the mind that unceasingly day and night takes its essence. This life is an impermanent as a water bubble. Remember how quickly it decays and death comes. After death, just like a shadow follows the body, the results of black and white karma follow. Finding firm and definite conviction in this, please bless me always to be careful, to abandon even the slightest negativities and accomplish all virtuous deeds. Seeking samsaric pleasures is the door to all suffering. They are uncertain and cannot be relied upon. Recognizing these shortcomings, please bless me to generate the strong wish for the bliss of liberation. Led by this pure thought, mindfulness, alertness, and great caution arise. The root of the teachings is keeping the Patrimoksha vows. Please bless me to accomplish this essential practice. Just as I have fallen into the sea of samsara, so have all mother migratory beings. Please bless me to see this, train in supreme bodhicitta, and bear the responsibility of freeing migratory beings. Even if I develop only bodhicitta, but I don't practice the 3 types of morality, I will not achieve enlightenment. With my clear recognition of this, please bless me to practice the bodhisattva vows with great energy. Once I have pacified distractions to wrong objects and correctly analyzed the meaning of reality, please bless me to generate quickly within my mind stream the unified path of calm abiding and special insight. Having become a pure vessel by training in the general path, please bless me to enter the holy gateway of the fortunate ones, the supreme Vajra vehicle. At that time, the basis of accomplishing the 2 attainments is keeping pure vows and samaya. As I have become firmly convicted of this, please bless me to protect these vows and pledges like my life. Then, having realized the importance of the 2 stages, the essence of the Vajrayana, by practicing with great energy, never giving up the 4 sessions, please bless me to realize the teachings of the Holy Guru. Like that, may the gurus who show the noble path and the spiritual friends who practice it have long life. Please bless me to pacify completely all outer and inner hindrances. In all my life, never separated from perfect gurus, may I enjoy the magnificent Dharma. By compelling the qualities of the stages and paths, may I quickly attain the state of Vajradhara.
Thank you.
诸功德本，恩德师，如理依止是道基。善了之矣，多策力，恭敬清净起加持。偶一得此暇满身，知极难得具大义。遍诸昼夜恒无间，身取艰辛愿加持。生命动摇如水泡，树即坏灭当念死。死后如影随雨行，黑白业果恒随逐。或定劫已与罪具，虽诸小恶亦应除。勤修一切妙善具，常不放逸起加持。受用无厌众苦门，不可保性三有乐。见过患已当希求，解脱妙乐愿加持。清净意乐所引发，正念正知不放逸。 圣教根本别懈脱，修为坚实起加持。如自沉没三有海，慈母众生悉如是。见以荷度众生淡，修菩提心愿加持。发心若不学三戒，当知定不证菩提。故应勤发大精进，学菩萨戒起加持。善持邪境令寂灭，如理观察真实义。即指妙观双运道，树当升起愿加持。善修共道成法器，称重最胜金刚乘。诸善丈夫圣道界，愿速起路起加持。22种成就本，为护禁律三灭耶。愿获真实决定解，如命守护起加持。次正通达续不兴，2次中药善勤习。4作瑜伽不放慢，如师教修愿加持。愿说如是妙道师，即正修办坚固住，内外一切诸障碍，速即熄灭起加持。愿一切身不舍离，善施受用正法乐，圆满道地诸功德，速证圣位金刚持。
谢谢。
谢谢，谢谢。
Thank you,
谢谢。
Okay.
Very
Yep.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so tonight, yeah, for some of you for tonight, some of you for this morning. So last session, we went briefly, very, very briefly through Four Noble Truth. Specifically, try to know the Four Noble Truth from the 16 aspects. Then there is another way to understand the Four Noble Truth, which is from the 12 aspects. Those 12 aspects are the 12 link of interdependent arising, or 12 link, that which display in the wheel of life. So from that way, be able to grasp, be able to understand well the function of the Four Noble Truth.
好，我们今天呢 ，sorry， 我们今天这个继续上课呢，我们上一节课呢有讲到四谛呢，以16支四谛已经讲到。那么这个四谛呢，以16支的方法去了解之外，还有一个12支，也就是以12因缘，包括以12因缘的这个图呢，来形象说明生死轮回中的这个四谛。那我们今天会继续的讲到这个12因缘。
As I mentioned last class, that if you know Four Noble Truth, you know the whole Dharma. If you don't know that, then even you know many, you don't know Dharma. You don't know Buddha's teaching. So, so similar way, when you know how the 12 links of interdependent or origination works, you will know the Four Noble Truth, how the function of Four Noble Truth. So when you know that, you know the Dharma.
所以说我们这边讲说，这个我们了知四谛的真义呢，我们呢就可以了知法；而不了知四谛的真义呢，我们可以说就是不知法。那么同样呢，这个12缘起这个以及这个缘起法呢，是了解四谛的一个重要的关节。那么了知12缘起呢，就可以深刻的了知四谛的意思。那么了知四谛呢，当然就是了知法。
So as rightly said by Buddha himself in the Rise Seeding Sutra, which is the source of where the traveling or interdependent arising teachings comes from, it says, Venerable bhikshus, whoever sees dependent and relative origination sees the Dharma. Whoever sees the Dharma sees the Buddha. What is this dependent and relative origination of which I speak? Sorry. Yeah. So maybe we put there who sees the Dharma and sees the Buddha. Okay, that's fine. So that's it. That's it.
那么在这个佛陀的阿含经典中讲到12缘起，那这边讲到说了知12缘起，便了知法。缘起法，了知缘起法，则了知法。Okay.
Yeah. Oh, then, because then in the sutra, because this exists, that arises. Because this is born, that is born.
那么在经典中提到说因为有缘并有起因为有缘起并有这个轮回。
So it's very much very much what you call the word that illustrate the traveling or interdependent origination, through the condition of ignorance and compounding factors arises, and from the condition of compounding factors, consciousness, name and form, and the 6 senses, spare, contact, feeling, craving, grasping, existence, birth, aging, death. Then from the conditions of aging and death, then the all sort of sufferings relation to that, comes about.
那么在这个阿含经典中呢，讲到说这个12缘起呢，由这个由无明到老死，也就是从无明引起行识名六入触受爱取有生和老死，这样12个因缘，所谓于12缘起。阿含经典中讲的说，这个在12缘起中呢，广义而言呢，都含于这12缘起中。那么缘起法呢，乃是永恒不变的真理。那佛观察此真理呢，开悟，并为众生开示此法。那么有情的生存的价值和意义方面呢，观察12缘起的意义，就是指这个人类的生存和苦恼是如何形成，并且呢，如何断灭苦恼而断灭自误这样的一个缘起相互相应的这个12缘起。
Then in the Heart of Dependent Arising Sutra, it says, from the 3 arises the 2, from the 2 arises the 7, and again from the 7 arises the 3. The wheel of existence repeatedly turns.
那么在这个缘起经文中谈到说佛陀讲说，由3生2，由2生7，由3支生2支，由2支生7支，由7支又反复的去生3支，由3生2。那么众生呢，就是这样子的由这个3这边讲的3支，也就是说12有支呢，它分为有7支、3支、2支。 那么这样的互相的轮回呢是无穷无尽，如此的循回呢轮回是无穷无尽的。
So from the tree here referring to the ignorant, craving, and grasping from the troubling, those are the three.
那么首先12支总结有4支，分4支可以说是能引之、所引之、能生之、所生之。那么能引之呢有3，这个就是由无明、行、因为是那所组成，由无明、行和因为是所组成。
So from this tree, ignorant, craving, and grasping arises 2. The 2 here referring to the compositional activity and the potential existent.
那么从这个无明、行识又引申为2呢，是由这个六入和处来这个代表。
From these 2 compositional activity, which is also karma, and the potential existent, which is also karma, from these two arises 7. The 7 referring to from the troubling, the consciousness, the name and form, the 6 senses, the contact, the feeling, the birth, aging, and death.
那么由这个业呢，再引起这个7的这个受识，所谓6入，也就是触受这个视名触受所引之的这个爱取有和这个触受等7支。
So from this 7, then again arises the 3, ignorant, craving, and the grasping.
那么从这个7支呢，又重新的回到这个3支，就是无明、行和识上面。
Then 2, then 7. That's how the wheel of life turns.
所以这个12缘起呢，它就是一个由3到2到7到3到2的这样一个不同支的一个轮回。所以这个轮回图呢，缘起图就是这样子来参加的。
So first 3. So from this, so this circle, the experience of this drop circle, it can happen within the pace of 3 life. The continuum of previous, this very life, and passing into next life. It can be experienced within 2 life, it can experience within 3 life, it can experience within many lifetimes. Many lifetime that which has interruption in between in order to complete this troubling, by the interruption of different karma, because the negative karma will lead to the negative troubling. Then positive karma will lead to the positive troubling. As long as whether it's positive or negative, as long as it's introduced by ignorant, as long as it's introduced by grasping, as long as it's introduced by craving, it's still the existence happen within the samsaric aggregates, you see. But then sometime when the negative continuums go up to certain link, then suddenly, like the virtuous interruption, completing karma interrupt, then the next life, unable to complete the troubling of the negative side, but rather go and complete the troubling of the virtuous experiencing that the earlier link can trace back to maybe 1 eon's life before or 2 lives before, like that,
所以说这个12缘起呢，它是其实在这个不戒伽罗我们心识中呢，它是可能是这个并不是一辈子，可能是生生世世有很多事来完成的一个这个从 无明一直到老死这12个缘起。那么也就是说，这12缘起呢，它是借由我们的善和恶业所造。那么当然善业当然会有善的缘起，因此有善的果报，而恶业呢有这个恶的缘起，并且恶的果报。因此呢，这个也当我们一辈子又一辈子有的时候这个恶的这个缘起呢，它是因为因为善业的这个加入呢，可能这个恶的果报会暂停。那么当这个善业已经消耗完之后，当然这个恶的果报会继续。所以这个12缘起，它从这个无明一直到老死，它是可能是生生世世，可能是很多很多世。那么我们大家可以看图，从第一个这个无明到行识名色六入触受爱取有生老死，这个合为12缘起。但是这个12有支的这个循环呢，从无明开始到断除呢，是会很长时间的，有可能是很长时间。
So you can see in the chart on the screen, the 12 link of interdependent, the points to link. The first one is like ignorant, then compositional activity, consciousness for this name and form. Fifth is, six senses. Number 6 is contact. Number 7 is feeling. Number 8 is craving. Number 9 is grasping. And number 10 is becoming. Number 11 is rebirth. Number 12 is aging and death. So now from there, the first and second, then the number 9 is Karsa. Tangbo. Tangbo jeba gunyimo. The first one, then the number 8 and the number 9 are the delusion.
好，这边我们可以看一看这个缘起呢是从第一无明和第8爱。So from first and 8 are
first 8 and 9 are the delusion.
OK。那么我们这边可以分类呢，从第一个无明到第8的这个爱和这个取，第9个取呢，这些呢是这个由无明由这个贪example of delusion, right? Delusion.
This troubling divide into 3 sections. Okay, delusion, karma, and suffering. So from this troubling, what are the delusion? The delusion are the number 1, number 8, and number 9 are the delusion. And
OK， 那么12缘起可以分为这个无明、业和这个果报三个大方向。那么有这个无明是代表什么呢？是第1、第2和第8。
The Niva Chupa Le, second, and the 10 is the karma.
那么第2呢，行和第10有呢是代表业。
Then the rest are the suffering.
那么其余呢都是这个苦果、苦报。
So yeah, you can put into a RAM, chanting, yeah. Tambo jeba gunyamo niba chuba le, like that, ding ding ding.
那么藏文可以用一个寄诵，可以把它背下来。所以我们这边讲说，1、2、8呢是为这个无明，那么行和这个9呢是为苦果，是为业，那其余呢都是这个苦。所以有无明、业和苦3个大方向，3个大分类。那么其中呢12支呢是这样的，每一支的有特别的。
Or the earlier what I quoted, the heart of the dependent rising, from from 3, 2, and 7, 3 are the referring to delusion, 2 are the referring to the karma, the rest are the referring to the suffering. So what are the 3? Tangbo Jeba Guba, number 1, number 8, number 9 are the delusion. Niva Chuba, the second, and the 10 is the 2, that karma. Then the rest are the suffering.
好，我们这边在总结，就是看这个英文的这个翻译是说，我们12缘起可以总分为无明、业和苦果。那么无明呢是有第一个和第8个，第1和第8，也就是无明和爱作为代表。那么这个还有这个第9作为代表。那么业呢是第2和第10，也就是行和有作为代表。那其余的呢都是作为这个苦果。
So in the past, when we talk about karma, we use the language like projecting karma, actualizing or what do you call completing karma, etc., etc. From this true karma, the compositional activity, the karma referring to the very much the initial imprint, the main karmic imprint. Then when we talk about the potential existent, which is also karma, but that is more like the condition at the time of dying, for us to, whatever thought arises that time, that condition to the last time, the root, what do you call the karmic imprint to complete, to bring about, what kind of rebirth that you're going to experience, you see. So these 2 karma, first one is very much to the main first karmic imprint, and the later one is the conditional, the completing karma. So when you understand like that, you can roughly get picture.
所以我们在这个12因缘中，其实我们讲到说，我们一般讲说这个业的话，我们只是讲一个粗的一个总业。其实业呢，它是可以分为一个业本身，以及它说业的种子。那么业的种子所造的呢，就是这个以后在世第3次世上面引起的随业受报，以为过去业力所需，夹持着所造善恶业而来投胎之后的这个世，这个世呢会产生将来的这个行第2的行。所以我们讲业果的时候，不只是说这个行所造的业，并且呢代表世第3，也就是说随业受报将来这个造业的种子，代表2条。
Then if you refer to my note, 100 page 108, on that note, then it categorized into 4 sections, cause and effect, something like that. So the 4 different kind of categories, you can organize this troubling like this. First one is a projecting factor. Then the second section is a projected factor. Then after that, actualizing factor. Then the last one is actualized factor. So the projecting factor is ignorant, first to ignorant compositional activity, consciousness. Or then projected factor is name and form, 6 senses, contact, feeling. Then actualizing factor, craving, grasping, potential existence. Then actualized factor, birth, aging, and death. You can also categorize like that.
那么这边呢，我们的格西的这个笔记中呢，可以看到说，我们12有支呢，英文这边叫做 projecting factor， 12有支呢，它可以叫做12有支，它可以总结分为4支。这4支的每一支各含几支呢？它是每一支各含4支。那么 projecting factor 就意思叫做能引支能力的能，身影的影，能引支。那么下面呢叫做 actualizing factor， 叫所引支。那么最后呢 有这个能生之和所生之。能引之第一支呢，它分为三个，它是由无名、行和因为事，这两支呢是过去式的因。所引之呢，它有果位的事，也就是名色、六入、触、受，这四支呢是今世的果报。能生之呢有爱、取、有，这三支呢是今世造作的因。那么所生之呢，有生、老、死，这两支呢是来世的果报。这个所以说12有支呢，可以总结分为4支。
And you can also understand this troubling in the 3 different stages. The first stage is impelling cause. Second stage is actualizing cause. Then the third stage is the result of all of them.
也就是说，这4支呢，它是分成3个阶段。第一个呢是所谓的引支，也就是说这个业，过去的业。那么能引支呢讲的是说今世的果报，然后呢能生之呢是代表将来世的这个因和将来世的果报，所以可以说分为3个过去、现在、将来的3个方向，3个方面。
So you see, so this complete cycle of this troubling unfold in these 3 stages. So first stage, ignorant, then the compounding factors and consciousness. Then that lead to the second stage, craving, grasping, existence, and that will lead to the 7 different kind of result, which is the suffering, name, name, form, 6 senses, contact, feeling, birth, aging, death, like that.
所以呢，这个佛陀在这个讲解在阿含经典中注12缘起中呢，就讲到说这个有情呢是由这个苦恼如何成立流转门，那么如何去灭除苦恼而至正悟呢，是叫做还灭门。那有情的生存有欲呢，是有事，也就是精神的主体的活动开始，从事的开始，生活的经验为行，那么生活的这个形成的这事的内容，然后再通过感官、器官、眼、耳、鼻、舌、身、口、意6处呢，接触认识之对象，也就是一些心。那么这样主观的感受知识呢，凡夫以事、以无明为内向，那以这个以欲望、可爱为外向，那发展成为呢我，并成为我执，也就是取。那么由此呢，生老病死代表了人间的苦，无常苦。反过来呢，圣者呢，因灭这个无明及可爱呢，也可以这个灭这个人间的最后这个苦，所以这样的一个12因缘。
So then these 3 different stages, the first 2 stages, as far as concerned with the relation to Four Noble Truth, first true truth. I mean, whole this troubling, the negative side is the complete of the first true noble truth, the truth of cause of suffering, and the truth of the result, the suffering itself. So the first stage and the second stage, ignorant, compounding factor, and consciousness, craving, grasping, existence, is the truth of causes of suffering. Then the rest, the 7, name and form after the aging and death, is the truth of suffering.
也可以说这12支呢，它是由这个四圣谛和这个四圣谛呢是紧紧相连的。那么我们从无明行到第3世呢，可以说是这个苦集灭道的苦谛，刚开始是所谓的苦谛。那么从第4名6入触受以后呢，可以说是苦谛极谛。那最后呢一直到这个灭谛苦集灭道。所以这个四圣谛和这个无明呢，它是紧紧相连的一个
Yeah. So this number go here and there. Don't worry. Okay. Don't stress out. So as long as you know that ignorance is the problem, and your focus is to eliminate ignorance, then rest will be all right. Okay, so don't worry. And just is a lot of blessing just to go through it. This teaching on traveling is regarded very, very, one of the most powerful teaching that Buddha have introduced.
那么我们看到这边数字呢，我们大家不要担心这个数字，对这些数字的次序有没有了解，这个不用担心。重点是要了解是一切的轮回的根基呢是无明，那么断除无明呢是解脱之道。所以我们两个工作，一个是了解无明，一个是断除无明，其实这是最重要的。但是我们以这个12因缘、12缘起、12支去好好的去学习一遍呢，是对我们心相续有很大加持的，是这样一个。
So then, in relation to the second, True Noble Truth, by overcoming, ignorance, these earlier two stages, overcoming that through applications of antidote, the path, like a wisdom of emptiness, wisdom of selfless, etc. That actualize the truth of the path. Or then the reverse way, the no actualization of name and form, and six, senses and contact, feeling, birth, aging, death is the cessation, the last truth, the truth of cessation.
那么我们在这个四谛的二谛呢是极谛，这边讲到是说以这个法无我和人无我的这个智慧呢，以这个灭除这个苦及苦因。那么在这个12因缘中所相对的呢，12缘起中相对呢，也就是把无明和形式这个借由这个苦集灭道的这个以这个道谛呢去断除这12轮回的所生和引支。
So in short, this problematic samsaric existence, very much, initiated by ignorance. So, this negative cycle of traveling is all about bringing suffering, the ignorance, etc., all the way up to aging and death and full of suffering. Buddha first introduced the circle, the link of this samsara existence. He introduced 18 different links, because after aging, death, then after death, there's a lot of different type of sufferings that you go through, your surrounding go through, like mourning, etc. But then Maitreya condensed it into 12 links, and which is, include everything. So the 12 link is good enough.
所以呢，这个我们讲12缘起的时候呢，这个他真的讲的就是生老病死的这个苦集灭道的一个总摄。那么在佛陀刚刚这个介绍12缘起呢，其实刚开始是有17支、16支，后来这个在阿含经典中，后来这个有浓缩成就是12缘起12缘起。那么其实这个12缘起的重点就是说，这个无明是一切生老病死的根源，因为有这个无明，才会有生有老有死，才会有苦集灭道。那么无明呢，也可以说是一切痛苦、一切这个轮回的过患，也就是一切轮回的罪魁祸首呢，就是这个无明。所以修行的最重点是断这个无明。
So if you want to understand in 18 different kind of the link as initially Buddha have taught, in accordance, the reference Rise Seating Sutra, you add this one after aging and death, then agony, wailing, suffering, unhappiness, and mental disturbances. All those are to add. In the sutra says all these disturbances arises. Like that, merely this enormous heaps of suffering arises. You see, so just the death doesn't stop the suffering. in fact, there follow up, so many suffering, even within that circle alone. So that's why the 18 circles.
其实佛陀在这个最初呢是提到这个缘起呢是18个缘起，那弥勒菩萨把这18缘起浓缩成我们现在学习的12缘起，在本质上他们是没有不同的。那么这个18缘起的它的缘起是什么呢？它是代表它的说，因为衰老和死亡呢，第12个这个环节呢被分成2个部分，但弥勒菩萨把它浓缩成1个部分。所以呢，在死亡之前经历衰老就没有必要了，所以生老病死把它浓缩。那么有些人呢，可能出生后不久就死了，他并没有经历过衰老的过程，所以呢，最后就把这个浓缩了那弥勒所以在佛陀全数的18环节中，佛陀说呢，衰老呢、死亡呢是第12和第13个环节，所以就把它浓缩成一起。
Yeah, so all the problems started from ignorance, okay? All the problems start from ignorance, ignorance, in one word, ignorant of not understanding ultimate truth. If you want to, make it more loose, then ignorant grasping to the suffering as happiness, impure as a pure, impermanent as a permanent, then that also, if you make it loose, then all the confusion that we go through day-to-day life,
所以一切的最后护手呢，就是无明。那首先我们讲这个无明，什么是无明？无明呢，就是一切烦恼的总称，也就是说，缘起性空，无所明了，而因妄生一切执着，所谓无明。这边讲的就是说，视痛苦为快乐，视不净为净，视这个短暂这个无常呢为有常这样的这个无明的这样的邪见呢，我们总称为无明。
So ignorance is very much like a dark room. The dark room only can be illuminated. It could be cleared by the light, which is the wisdom, you see. So no other antidote, no other thing then can overcome the darkness of ignorance. No other thing can overcome the darkness of the room except the light. Similarly, no other wisdom or no other method can ever to overcome the darkness of the egoistic self-grasping ignorant. That can be only overcome by its contradictory mind, that which is called the wisdom realizing, selflessness, or wisdom realizing emptiness. That's the only one that can able to overcome the ignorant.
那么无明呢，就像身处在一个黑色的房间，一个漆黑的房间，唯有这个灯光才能照明。那么除此之外，别无他法。那么这个照明无明的灯光呢，那就是智慧。唯有这个断除，以这个智慧了悟空性，了悟这个人无我法无我的这样的最究竟的智慧呢，才能驱除并且断除无明。除此之外，没有他法。
So not understanding the absolute reality of conventional truth and ultimate truth, we are living in darkness, we are living in confusion. If we understand correctly the conventional truth, which is the interdependent arising, and if we understand the ultimate truth, the empty of independent, inherent existence, then we gain the actual wisdom of understanding the reality or the absolute true truth. That discovering of that truth is finding light in this darkness of confusion.
那么在这个如何去找到驱除这个黑暗的房间的这个光明呢？这个光明呢，它就是我们所谓的二谛。这个我们佛陀这个轮耶不二谛，也就是说，在这个世俗上，我们讲到说一切呢，这个缘起 缘起，而这个究竟的层面也就是性空，缘起性空，我们称为2谛的智慧。这个首先在世俗上知道说一切呢都是由缘起所因，那么在究竟的这个空慧上面讲的说一切呢它是无有自性，空于自性的这个最究竟存在事物的本质。了解这个2谛，所谓佛教的这个2谛呢，是真正的对治无明，究竟的去除无明的最究竟的这个智慧。
So if we are parting in samsara, if we enjoy samsara, then we don't have to worry about it. We continue to live in that hallucination, the ignorant. That ignorant will create a lot of opportunity to do. Create a lot of opportunity to do all sort of actions, all sort of karma, which is called the compositional activity, which is it's a creation of karma. By creating those karma, then we'll leave a karmic footprint, which is the imprint on consciousness, which is number 3. And once that imprint manifests, it will manifest into a name and form and all those very much like how the baby form. Then after that, that particular fertilized substance, eventually will grow into 6 senses. Or then after that, start to have all those feelings, all those organs. Then that start to actualize contact. Then arise feeling, number 7. Then after that, once you have feeling, then you have craving, isn't it? You want chocolate, I don't want chili, etc., etc. Then after that, you're grasping, I only want chili, or I only want chocolate, no chili at all, I'll be very unhappy you feed me chili. You only have to feed me chocolate, Then after that, okay, then you just get drunk in the chocolate, and then becoming. Then after that, then then there's make baby. Then after that, then rebirth. Then after that, then aging, death. Like that, go round and round and round. So something like that.
所以呢，如果我们不想解脱，我们如果不介意这个在无明中继续生活下去，那我们也就随他去吧。这个生生世世我们就会无止境的会这样轮转下去。但是呢，如果我们是想要解脱的话，那必须要知道如何从无明一直到这个老死，这个过程是怎么样来的。我们在哪一个阶段中可以把它断除无明，既然呢就可以断除老死。我们这边再把这个无明再走一遍的话，我们可以想说，第一，我们由无明呢一切烦恼的总称也就是因为因而对缘起性空没有了解缘起性空这个道理，因而对一切妄生一切的执着这个无明。那么有了无明，我们才有了这个行为，就是行。第二，这个行呢，就是一切的行为无明所造的善业恶业呢，就是行。那么由这个行为所造善业之后呢，我们也有事，这个事呢就随业受报，过去业力所驱使夹持着所造的善恶种子来投胎，继续的投胎，从第3开始，然后投胎之后自然就会有这个色，所谓这个色有色才会有6根，也就是说这个6入我们的6根6入。那从6根呢再接触到触然后出生之后跟6根一切外境的接触呢为接触，有了接触就会有领受，这个领受呢升起苦乐2种感觉不二的感觉那么因此这个感觉呢也升起了所有的情绪，比如说你很喜欢吃辣的，那人家不给你辣，你就有很大的反感，你一定要吃辣，不吃辣的就不甘心，这个就是受。那么因为这样的情绪呢变成贪爱呢也是对境所生的这种贪婪之心，那有了这个贪婪之心再去取，也就是说对欢乐之境的念念祈求，有取再会再造业，那也变成有因有果再造业，有造业呢所感业力感造的一定的这个果报呢 会有生，那么有生，那自然就会老死，柱根衰败叫做老死。那么生生世世的流转，我们12因缘这样子就是一辈子一辈子就在这继续过下去。
Oh yeah. So if we don't like to experience, death and aging, yeah, we can already see quite complicated, isn't it? Quite not so comfortable, not so comfortable to get a buttock pain, not so get comfortable to see gray hair again every morning. It's not nice, isn't it? I mean, then when we see our loved one, goes through the transition of life, it's tough. And if we think about ourselves, going to die, also it's not easy, isn't it? So if we don't like death and aging, then we have to stop the birth. If we don't like the birth, then we have to stop becoming. You see, so don't make baby. If you don't like that, then stop the grasping. Then if you don't want that, then stop the craving, stop the feeling, stop the contact, stop the sixth sense, stop the name and form, stop the karmic imprint, the consciousness. Then stop creating karma. Then stop the ignorance, you see. So boom, 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 boom.
所以我们说，我们看起来一个顺序来看，我们知道说无明，由无明开始到老死这一系列的这个种种的发生，一节环节一个环节，我们生老病死是不容易的。当我们看到自己的头发变白，看到我们的皱纹，看起来不大开心吧？看到自己的身边的亲人经历的生老病死是非常苦的。生老病死这是实际的东西，是真的是苦的，真的每个人都必须经历的。好，我们不想这个老死，那我们就所谓呢，我们就把这12支要从这个顺序和倒序，我们倒序呢，从所生之到能生之，到所引之，到能引之呢，反过来去看，我们不想老死，那当然就要去解除这个，首先要断生。那要断生呢，就必须要断这个执着有。那要断有呢，你必须要断取这个取。可惜开玩笑说，那就不要取和爱，那你就不要生孩子，不想老死，那就不要生孩子了。OK， 然后呢，这个要断除这个爱跟取呢，你就不要断除受，你要去生起苦乐两种觉受的这个受。那么你要断除受，你必须要断除这个处，也就是根尘合而成的这个处。那么从这个处你再往回去走的话，你要断除六入，断除名声，直到断除事，断除行，才能断除无明。所以我们有顺序和倒序的方法，如何去断这个生老病死这个环节。
Yeah. So it's a very, very wonderful meditation subject. You can meditate the forward way. You can meditate reverse way. Just roughly that what I said like that. Okay. If you want to stop that, you have to stop this. If you want to stop that, you have to stop this. Or another way. By having this will, this will produce this. By having that, it will produce that. So then, if I want to stop the first link, if I want to stop the ignorant, then how should I go about? It means I should realize wisdom, realizing emptiness. That will stop. Once you realize wisdom, realizing emptiness, then you will be able to overcome creating karma. But if no karma, nothing imprint to live in. You see, so that's how that you can able to experience the entire the process of liberation.
所以这个12缘起的这个禅修呢，我们可以用这个顺序的和倒序的两种方法来禅修，这个做思维修，其实这个是非常有意义的思维修。我们可以从无明用顺序的方法到老死去作为能引之、所引之、能生之、所生之的这4种的大的概括的禅修。那么当然呢，如果我们想说要以这个生老病死的4谛中的以这个极谛啊，这个灭谛来开始，也就是从老死开始，我们可以做一个倒序的这个方法来做这个禅修。如何去断除从老死一直到无明，所以我们顺序和这个倒序的2种方法都可以来熟悉我们的禅修的这个心念，训练我们的心智。
So the teaching on this, the traveling of interdependent rising, explaining in relation to the diagram, the picture that you drawn, that is regarded as so blissful and so powerful, so precious, that during Buddha's time, the Buddha's hard disciple like Shariputra and Mongolputra usually go around to teach Dharma, actually to go and teach, to explain the picture, explain the diagram, to the people, to let them realize how samsaras come about and how to get freedom from that, So these are the main kind of way of turning wheel of Dharma by his disciples, Then the diagram, the picture, in fact, is directly introduced, or don't know whether Buddha himself draw or not, but most likely not, but Buddha is the one that say draw, must draw like this, so the picture that what we see is of course, there's some influence that the Tibetans will draw a bit like Tibetan kind of look, Tibetan buildings. The Westerner will draw a bit differently, Indian will draw a bit differently, but the main the thing that in the picture is Buddha himself is introduced to do that.
我们这个12缘起图刚才所看到的，那这个请这个菲师姐再分享一下这12缘起图呢，这个是它这个表示了以形象说明我们生死轮回中的每一个阶段。那么释迦牟尼佛在初转法轮的时候呢，他的大弟子像舍利佛，他们就是以这个12缘起图呢作为他初转法轮的主要的弘法的一个弘扬佛法的一个最主要的一个门经。他的弟子们呢会到处去宣说这个12缘起这个图。那么我们不知道是否这个12缘起图是否是这个释迦牟尼佛本身世尊自己画的，但是有这样的说法是这样的这个图片的这个次序呢，是释迦牟尼佛本身这个世尊本身自己这个阐明的这个次序，也可能是他自己画的所谓这个12缘起的图。那这边呢主要呢也是这个在这个初转法轮时候，这是释迦牟尼佛以及他的弟子这个舍利佛他们主要的弘法利生的这个途径，就是宣扬这个12缘起。
So this drawing was in fact a message that Buddha wanted to send to one of the king that who is completely soaked into the worldly grasping situation, to him to overcome that very overwhelming samsara experiences. So Buddha sent this as a form of a letter, to him to understand the samsara and to come out of it. And just by referring to the picture, that king within that very lifetime, achieved liberation. Able to overcome both karma and delusion and achieve liberation.
那么其实这个典故呢，是在很久之前，为了征服印度的一位国王，这个佛陀呢就把这张照片以这个信和照片的形式呢，把这个寄给国王，并解释了12的缘起以及轮回的存在是如何来，如何从轮回中解脱。那么据说呢，这位国王呢看到这封信，看到这个图呢，两种教导呢，他进行了深刻的反思呢，那么而此呢，并且呢得到了成就，获得了解脱。看到这幅图就获得了解脱，他能悟出了四圣谛，并且呢完全的对解脱升起不可动摇的信念。修行悟道实现解脱，是这样的一个典故。
Such like as I mentioned in the last class, those 5 disciples, just by listening the teaching on Four Noble Truth, they able to overcome the first true truth, the reality of first true truth, and actualize the second true truth, to achieve arahantship, to achieve liberation. So similar way, if you relate the practice in relation to troubling or interdependent arising, even just looking at the picture and try to understand well and try to apply the antidote, like the king here, we too will able to actualize liberation in that way.
那么在上堂课讲到说，在佛陀的是这个五比丘弟子中呢，其中有一位弟子，刚刚听到这个四圣谛呢，他就可以开悟，得到了阿罗汉的果位。那么其他的弟子后来呢，五弟子呢，他都是因为这个了解并且学习到这个四圣谛呢，完全得到这个阿罗汉和开悟。同样来讲呢，这个12因缘以及这个四圣谛呢，它是紧紧相依的。那我们如果有具足这个信心的话，同样呢，也是借此呢是可以学习并且得到开悟。应该向这个先人去学习。
If those of you who visited Bodh Gaya Stupa, then it is recognized that if you go around the stupa at the right side, you enter from the main door, then you go around, then behind there's a Bodhi tree. Then after you pass the Bodhi tree, and somewhere in the middle of the one face of the stupa, then there's a door out, there's inner door to get out. The moment you get out of that inner door, right there, there's one Bodhi tree. The another one, like kind of bit of abandoned Bodhi tree. Saying that the emphasis or the drawing or the bringing up this drawing the Buddha wanted to send to the king was done right there.
OK， 那么如果大家有去过印度正觉塔，在这个正觉塔的这个去拜访过的话呢，知道说在正觉塔的这个内塔外面，内塔里面出来这个右边出来的这个地方有一个这个出来的有一个这个菩提树。这个一个比较老的菩提树，在这个菩提树旁边呢，那个地方呢，据说呢，这个12因缘图呢，就是在那里绘画的。
Okay, so it seems like time is taking too much your time. I'm taking too much of your time. Okay, maybe you show me the picture here, then I will just go through, the brief introduction. Then after that, you can refer to the note. So I already explained briefly there, so you can read it and it will be okay. So I don't need to go, emphasizing each of the picture. What is it? So from here, okay. So there's a one inner round. Then after that, second round. Then after that, the third round. Then after that, the fourth round. So then, that whole wheel is very much kind of control or kind of hold by this, quite a scary look. A very scary look. And this scary look, very much, called as a Yama or the Lord of the Death. It's not really kind of in person, but, that kind of fearfulness in relation to what's about death, especially when we don't understand how to handle the death and the death process, like such as the dissolution of elements, dissolution of this conceptual mind, then there's a lot of confusion, fear arises, and it can be so fearful. If you want to illustrate in picture, it can be something like that, so this is called the Lord of Death or the Yama.
那么我现在看看大家，请看这个前面的这个12因缘图。这边呢，这个叫做生命图啊，生命图。这边呢，这个图呢有很多的圈，有第一圈、外圈、内圈，这4个圈子。那这个照片看起来非常的恐惧非常恐惧。其实它代表呢，这个轮子呢看起来非常可怕的，就代表死神，叫做耶罗王死神。其实呢，它代表并不是死神本身。而是这个我们的轮回的生命没有逃脱死亡的机会，所以呢，这个整个这个生老病死，特别经历死的这个恐怖呢，是一种恐怖的体验。 比如说一个人死亡的时候呢，他的这个四大呢，他的溶解等等的这些恐怖的体验，总设为这个我们这个图叫做耶罗的死神，是由死神拿着的这个图。那么每一个圈子呢有代表不同的这个意义。
Then this very muscular two hand, grabbing the wheel, the one of the hand represent the truth of cause of suffering, the delusion and karma. Then another hand represent sorry. One represent karma, another represent the delusion.
OK， 那么这个大家看，这个有2个手，阎魔王他2只手拿的这个生命图呢，这个2只手，一只手代表无明，一只手代表业力，也就是象征着苦地和灭地。
Yeah. So then the inner circle, what's it? The bigger circle, the 12, in the link of interdependent arising. So that is very much the samsaric, the process that we explained before, from ignorance to the death and aging and death, is, the two hand grabbing, two hand holding is very much like this. The samsaric experience are very much contaminated, very much under the control, under the capture, under the guide of karma and delusion.
那么我们这边首先看外圈里面的所有的图画，有不同的人啊、房子这些最外圈。这个外圈呢，就代表了12缘起，从无明到老死，这个12缘起的这个娑婆世界的苦这个经历苦的这个整个12个年节。那这些年节呢，都是紧紧的被握在阎魔王的这个手上，也就是我们的这个生老病死呢，象征呢是由无明和业力呢所控制的。
Yeah. So as long as we are not free from karma and delusion, there's no freedom. We are in others' power, the power of karma and delusion. That's why in life, there's so many things, we do not wish to experience. It comes in our way. Even we do prayers, even we do this and that, many things out of control, in particularly aging and death is out of our control. It will happen. It's just a matter of time because we carry the contaminated samsaric aggregates. Contaminate means contaminated by karma and delusion, bound by karma and delusion.
所以这边讲到说，因为我们怀有着有染的这个五蕴，也就是这个有染的五蕴呢，是因为由业和无明所污染，因此呢，我们呢生老病死呢是不可避免的。所以无论我们怎么样不想去生老病死，不想去死和生和老或是病，那这个老死和苦死和这个病死呢是一定会发生的。这个呢就是只要是由业和无明所染的五蕴呢，就一定是逃不出这个生死轮回的这个途。
Then the inner bigger circle is the sixth realm of silent existence. God, demigod, then human, then animal, hungry ghosts, and hell being.
那么内圈里面呢，有分了6个部分，那就代表了6道，有人道、天道、阿修罗道、地狱道、畜生道这样子6道天道代表6道内圈。
Then between you see between God and demigod, there's a big tree, and you can see if the picture in your own time you see clearly. There's a lot of like a war going on between two of them. It's just a symbolism of the karma, the karmic consequences. In the demigod realm, whatever the seed that you plant, like such as like this fruit tree, then all the result goes into the God realm, and between two of them, just always just spend whole existence fighting. There's no peace, even you be born as a God and demigod.
那么在前面现在我们前面看到的是天道和这个天道和阿修罗道的之间有一个大树，这个树呢代表了所有能投身到天道和阿修罗道所有的业。 那么这些业啊，那但是呢，也代表了说天道和阿修罗道之间，他们无止节的互相的争斗、战争、争斗等等。那这个他们的这个存在，包括他们将来所要造的这些所造的将来的业。
And also life, very much spent by sensual distractions, and you can see music, etc. And then, death, the one of the most devastating suffering that God realm go through is, near death. The what do you call the deconstructions of all the beauty, fortune, everything. Then falls into complete exhaustions of merits, good karma, then falls into the lower realms.
那这边呢，我们可以看到天道呢，阿修罗的照片中呢，他们是以这个纵欲为主，因为他们这个沉迷在这个享乐纵欲之中。那么也看到说有一个人死人的地方，这样子这个地方死人的这个地方呢，看到说就是说，虽然他们在纵欲中但是当这个死亡来临的时候呢，他们要经历强大的这个痛苦这个死亡的痛苦。你可以看到说，他们以战争享乐为主的天道和阿修罗道，但是呢，也是以斗争为主，并且呢，同样呢，他们也要经历这个死亡，而且他们经历死亡的时候是有强大的痛苦。这边。
Then human, you see, busy making baby. Then after that, birth, then sick, and then aging. Then after that, so many busy, planting crops and partying, etc., etc. But that's life goes like that.
那我们就在左边看到人道，我们人道呢，非常的匆忙的在这个繁忙的过生活中，你这边在生小孩，在这边去从事商务，或者在享乐，在开 party， 然后呢在种田，然后在生老病死，在病苦，人生也就是这个样子，生老病死的整个人生在左边人道的这个苦。
Yeah, then there's some are doing Dharma teaching, some are doing Dharma in the name of Dharma, do holy Dharma, some are good ones, some are, blah, 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 like that.
那看到这边呢，有师父在传法，那么这个传法呢，也可能有善的传法，也有恶的传法。那么有人可能是否是在利用传法的这个佛法的这个机会呢，是来从事世间法，也有可能哦。所以就是说也看到这个佛法的方面
Yeah, we ourselves can picturize that.
都可以身历其中，把自己的人生放进去。这就是我们的人生。
Okay, but anyway, I think better than God and demigod.
但这个呢，人道呢，要比天道和阿修罗道呢。
Then the animal realm. Oh my God, my Buddha. Oh, you see, there's so many different animals. The water animals, land animals, and this and that, and the major suffering. Suffering of harming each other, etc., etc. We all know how much suffering. Then most importantly, suffering of ignorance. Then after that, hungry goes, suffering of thirst, suffering of hunger. Then you can see from the picture, you see, there's so many. Okay, no, we don't need to go through. Then hell realm, hot hell realm, cold hell realm, 8 cold hell realm, 8 hot hell realm, Vajra hell realm, this and that, unbelievable. So all this thing comes from 3 root delusion, that which is right in the center there.
好，我们这边再看到呢，那当然，畜生道，互相的残杀所经历的，动物道、畜生道、受伤动物所经历的痛苦，那可想而知，互相的残杀，他们这样子。然后在左边呢，是由这个地狱道和恶鬼道。地狱道呢，有这个8大地狱。有18层地狱等等的地狱，有寒地狱、热地狱等等不同的地狱，大家可以去学习。恶鬼道的苦呢，可以说久经万年、千年呢，都找寻不到一滴水这样的恶鬼道的苦。 我们可以看到说下三道的畜生道、地狱道、恶鬼道，这些苦是可想而知，那是不可言的苦。那么这些苦呢，都可以总摄为3种。这些投生到这个不善道的这些因呢，都是由3种来，也就是说贪嗔痴，由这个三种三毒为起因，也是中间的这个类轮的所谓的贪嗔痴的代表。因为贪嗔痴才有这个6道轮回的这个苦。
Yeah. So you said that the pig and the snake and the phoenix and both the phoenix and the snake, come out from the pig's mouth. So the pig symbolizes ignorance, snake symbolizes anger, then the phoenix symbolizes attachment, and those two are coming out of the expressions of ignorance. Is rooted by ignorance. The pig.
那么这边呢，无明呢由这个猪所代表，这边有猪、有蛇，还有凤凰。这个凤凰呢代表贪，蛇呢代表猪呢代表无明，蛇呢代表嗔恨，也就是这个贪嗔痴3毒。
Yeah. So as long as we are bounded by these 3 poisons, on the basis of these 3 poison, or either of these 3 poison, or any of the other delusions, then we commit contaminated virtue. Then that will result us to be born as a human being. Then the second one is demigod. Then after that is God. Then if we accumulate contaminated negative karma on the basis of this delusion, then the lighter one born as an animal, then the hungry ghost, then the worst one is born as a hell being, like that.
那么最内圈的，我们讲这个蛇，这个3种动物所代表的这贪嗔痴啊，这个贪嗔痴呢，这些因为这个贪嗔痴呢，我们引致了这个投身到这个6道之中。那么黑道呢，有这个恶鬼、旁生、地狱那么这个因为这个贪嗔痴所致呢，众生呢轮回中呢，不论善道恶道呢，都无法脱离生死。
So as long as the karma that introduced by delusion, then even we born as a god, even we born in the 3 higher realm, still subjected to suffering, subject to the contaminated aggregates, which is called samsara. So it's still within suffering.
那么因为的一切的业呢，都是由有染的五蕴所致的有染的业。那哪怕这个善业呢，促使我们投身在3种这个3真上升，比如说天道、人道呢，那是因为是有染的业所致呢，那么也是无法脱离轮回，也一样是它的本质呢，也是苦。
So Buddhist teaching, teach about refraining from causing negative karma and introduce to accumulate positive karma to be reborn in the 3 higher realms as a practice of small capable beings, which is very much like a preliminary introduction to the liberation. The ultimate intention of Buddha introducing the practice of small capable being is not for us to really be born in 3 higher realms and you can experience liberation. It's not like that. It's just a very skillful means. The Buddha's intent is for us to lead out of this entire circle.
那么佛陀的教法呢，讲到说呢，以这个远离恶业、累积善业呢，可以帮助众生投身到3种真上升。那这个其实只是一个引导，这个投身在3种真上升，只是一个过程，并不是最后的目的。佛陀的教导是说呢，佛陀最终的教导呢，是要去脱离整个这个轮回，要去脱离轮回呢，必须要解脱这个无明以及无明它的种子。所以呢，这个投身在3真上升呢，只是 一个这个解脱的一个路径，这不是最后的目的地。
So the Yama, with his strength of this karma and delusion, which is the truth of cause of suffering, then the whole whatever everything in the circle, this what you call the circle, except beside the central one, everything, basically inside everything is also suffering, so the truth of suffering. And outside, if to be free from entirety of suffering and its causes, then Buddha introduced the latter two truth, the truth of path and truth of cessation. So Buddha pointing finger, towards the moon, is showing the truth of path. Then the moon represent the truth of cessation.
那么，所以在这个轮回图里面，所有的这个内圈外圈，包括追内圈，所代表的只是轮回之苦。那么佛陀呢，最后也就是代表了这个四谛中的第一谛和第二谛苦谛。苦谛。那么佛陀最后呢，看到在这个圈外的这个有这个佛陀的这个佛陀的这个影像，指着这个影像以及这个月，这个月呢就代表这个极谛和灭谛，苦集灭道，极谛和道谛代表呢，唯有解脱轮回才是解脱之乐。那么这个月呢，这是左上方的这个月呢，代表这个修行，代表这个四谛中的第三和第四谛。
So Buddha, is not just emphasizing just fantastic philosophy idea. Buddha, in fact, sharing his own experiences, through the samsaric world and actualizing the path, then actualizing the complete cessation. It's very much saying that I went through the control of karma and delusion. I went through all the different 60 realms of samsaric existence. Then I found the path. I follow the path, then I have actualized that. So if you want to go to the absolute freedom, you too follow. You see, Buddha in his life, in his, he have taken infinite rebirths, but very obvious, emphasizes about the 500 unfortunate rebirth and 500 fortunate rebirth that Buddha have experienced, including the rebirth in the hell realm. Buddha have experienced everything. You see, so it is a truly himself as a proof that definitely there's existence of suffering and the causes of suffering, and also definitely there is a benefit of path, and definitely the liberation is definitely achievable. So with that faith, we try our best. Also to overcome delusion, overcome karma, then try to cut the link of the negative 12 link, and try to actualize, hold our lifeline as a path, in particularly emptiness and bodhicitta, then actualize the cessation, not only temporary cessation, temporary liberation, but to grab, to have an ambition to achieve the highest liberation, which is fully enlightenment. Okay, with this auspicious note, I will stop here.
好，这边呢，那所以呢，佛陀呢讲到这个，看到指着这张图的意思呢，他并不只是在理论上告诉我们要来脱离轮回呢，脱离12因缘，脱离这个无明。他讲的呢，他是他自己的实际的体验。那么佛陀本身他也是在无数次的这个经历过这个本身的这个轮回。那据说佛陀本身他经历过500世的三真上升的这个轮回，他也经历过500世的这个下三道的这个，包括在这个地狱道和恶鬼道中经历过这样的轮回。那么他也是因为这个 因为这个升起这个殊胜的菩提心，并且断除了无明，以这个修行获得了无上正等正觉，因此脱离了这个轮回的这个直到以这个涅槃成佛。因此呢，佛陀是自己这样走过来这样一条道路，所以他指出的是他实际的修行断苦的经验。那么佛陀是说我也是因为无明和惑呢无数次的在这个轮回中去流转，那么借由出离心升起这个菩提心，以及升起这个对这个事物无二的这个最究竟的智慧，也就是空性的智慧呢借由这个证悟这个空性无二的智慧呢，方可以解脱轮回。那我是这样过来的我的弟子们呢，我也是希望你们也是步我的后尘，能解脱轮回。所以佛陀也是这样子过来的。那么今天可以说，那么借由这个殊胜的最后的这个因缘呢，我们今天的课就讲到这边。
Yeah. So I didn't get a chance to explain the 12, the representation of the paintings. So you can read through my notes here, and then of course, in relation to this topic, you can find time to read from Lamrim texts. There are many descriptions in relation to philosophy texts, but not to worry. Just as long as you read the Lamrim, that will be good enough. Okay. So thank you so much. If you have any questions, we have question. It's quite late. Maybe we can stop here.
Gisela, do we have one question? Dr. Gore has one
for
question.
me, no problem. I can stay whole night, no problem.
If we can offer one question. 可惜说呢，我们今天呢，我们大概讲了个大概的这个12因缘的这个一些这个图那么大家可以借由这个菩提道次第呢去深刻的学习。那么我们这边有英文的笔记呢，我们还在翻译之中，翻译之后呢，会把这个笔记在下个礼拜再分享给中文同学班有关格西的这个12因缘的这些笔记这边呢我们这边呢会有还大家可以深刻的在菩提道次第中去学习这个二谛、四圣谛、12因缘这些主题，是对我们解脱是非常重要的。好，今天呢有这个也会有一个问题的这个时间，请这个 Dr. Go 来。
Since Shariputra Mongol Putra's period, in Buddha's time, then later Shariputra has his monastery, then strongly emphasize of having this drawing, this drawing of this wheel of life in the monasteries, in the wall of anyone who follow Buddha as possible. So therefore, you can see in all the monasteries that you have these drawings. Similarly, at home, in our individual home or individual rooms or wherever, even just small picture, or in your prayer books, or some, or maybe as a, I don't know, maybe you can put as a, those who brave one, then you can put as a phone, iPad cover, computer cover. Then each time you open, then you see the true colors, what's going on, so it can be beneficial, it can be, beneficial.
可以就是说，在这个佛陀时候呢，这个舍利佛陀的大弟子呢，他就把这个12因缘的这个阎王的这个图呢，就放在所有的寺院的这个大门口，来提醒众生呢，我们这个万般皆苦，唯有解脱为真谛这样的一个道理。那么我可惜也欢迎呢，并且欢迎大家呢，尽量的在家里，如果能把这个放射这样的图，甚至我们在电脑上的这个屏蔽上面，电脑上也可以放这样的图，随时提醒自己，随时提醒自己这个解脱只有解脱为乐这样的一个道理。
Like many of you have attended the teaching on by Compassionate Buddha. There's someone asked question today. By reflecting on the this suffering of change, this samsaric kind of what do you call the nature of samsara impermanent in relation to your day-to-day life, in particularly in relation to your family and things that you do. And he kind of says that it seems like bringing inconvenience, and the compassionate Buddha answer, no, that's the usual our usual thing, The Dharma practice is Dharma practice, but that usual natural life process, you should carry on, family, loved one, So the meaning here is don't how to say, the Dharma practice or the Dharma knowledge that you have, cannot become a cause of inconvenience in your positive, virtue or the conventional life. Like because of your practice Dharma, then bring inconvenience in relationship. Because of your practice Dharma, you become very kind of isolated. You become very rigid. You become very difficult person. Don't want to eat that. Don't want to eat this. Don't want to do this. Like totally kind of like become insane. Of course, if you want to do that, you can go to Himalaya and become, be friend with Milarepa. You can do. But if you are living with ordinary society, you have to be normal. I think that particular answer from the omniscient one, for me, I see a lot of clarification there. Even though a very simple question, very simple answer, but I see deep clarification there, you see. So that's why when you practice Dharma, you have to be the most flexible one, honestly speaking. You have to, the more you practice Dharma, you become like the doll. You can mold in every shape, you see. So it's all about overcoming the delusion. It's not about avoiding people. It's not about avoiding party. It's not about avoiding lunch, avoiding husband, avoiding wife. There's so many practitioners. They after meet Dharma, a lot of husband and wife fighting. They create a lot of inconvenience. So that's the wrong way. You see. So I want to clarify even about this picture. Is to remind about shaping your attitude, but then doesn't mean that always like get feared, always scared, I always see Yama, now I don't want to go to eat, I don't want to sleep, I don't want to play, Well, then my recommendation of asking you to put as a wallpaper would be, well, I create so much karma. Yeah.
因为格西想要说
relax, be happy, be normal, be relaxed, and most importantly, heart pure, free of those grudge, delusions, graspings, then okay, you can go into beach, you can climb mountains, whatever you want, no problem.
这边呢，我把这个后面的先在前面翻。格西讲说，我们学佛呢，最重要呢要自在，不要变得两元化。很多时候呢，我们学佛之后呢，会有很多教条主义，变得说这个不能做，那个不能做，并且夫妻之间正常生活呢变得很有这个问题。学佛不应该是这样子。最主要是说，最近呢，这个上人，我们的上人有人在这个听这个上人开示时候呢，问了个问题说，我们我们学佛之后，怎么样把这个学佛的生活和日常生活所结合？那这个上人的回答说，你该怎么生活就该怎么生活，应该照常的进行。这边呢，其实这个回答呢是非常有智慧的。我们呢有的时候学佛之后呢，变成二元化，变成和我们的日常生活和家人和等等呢，反而是处处不能相处这些呢都是一个表象的一个形式主义。真正学佛呢，是应该把以这个慈悲心、空正见，把这些理念呢贯穿到我们的生活中。 那么你很多时候发现说，怎么佛教徒学佛之后，夫妻之间的关系反而变坏了，经常去吵架，是因为这个不能做，那个不能做，或是呢，或是有种种的这种吃饭呢是种种的不方便。学佛不应该带给你生活中任何的不方便，所以上人对这个题目的回答呢是非常有智慧的。所以我叫你大家用这个12因缘图来提醒我们要处理轮回，只是一种提醒，并不是代表不是来故意来吓你，让你什么都不能做。所以呢，这个我们生活的做学佛还是要把真正学佛呢要变得很自在。要把这个精神，佛教的精神贯彻到你的生活中，那你真正的一个禅修的一个行者呢，他是自在的，他是很融合的，他是任何环境都是有弹性的，是这样。我要跟你们就加这么几句话，这样子呀。
The conclusion is when you disassociate with delusion, then you don't create contaminated karma. That's the point. You see, so as long as your heart stay away from associating with delusion, then even you jump in the sky or drive deep in the ground, you punch on the wall, it is action, but it doesn't commit that kind of karma that will leave imprint in our continuum. So it's no problem. But again, there's another important part. The compassionate Buddha says, during the same answer, if it is a monastery, then there's that kind of carefulness, even your outer action, there's restrictions, but there are kind of distinction. You are lay ordinary people, you have a family, you have a job, but if you are dedicating your life in a monastery, then yes, your mind has to be full of reframing from going away from the mind of awareness of renunciation, isn't it? So again, there's a great clarification, So so something like that.
那这边讲说，重点呢，就是说这个我们要了解我们的，要能常观我们的这个出发心，也就是说，我们的行为呢，要远离这个无明。我所有的行为，如果能断除以无明为起因的任何的行为呢，它都是清净的。重点是这个发心，而不是这个行为本身。你要知，不是由这个无明所驱属的这个业。我们经常要造呢，是一个清净的业呢，就是不是以无明为驱属的业。那么上人在开示中也提到说，当然对于这个出家众来讲，那么在出家众的在这个外面的行为，这个外表行为呢，也是必须要遵守纪律，遵守这个戒律。这个也是很重要。那对出家众这个要求就不一样了，不但是在内，包括在外，所有的行为呢是必须要符合戒律，必须要符合这个威仪的。这边再加这么一句啊。
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Sheila, you begin
Yes,
here.
please.
My question is about form and formless realm. They are still in this samsara, but it's not projected in the diagram. In the diagram, when the positive karma goes up to fortunate rebirth, it stops at gods and demigods. How should one be reborn in the form and formless realm? Number two is, will the being in form and formless realm eventually, when their karma, positive karma finish, do they come back to the desire realm? Thank you.
Yes, you can still circle in the desire realm, and there's even though in the diagram you put God and demigod, so within the within the God, there are many, the God in relation to what you call the how to say Karsa. The three wall, the wall of form, wall of formless, wall of desire. So there's a long kind of like stages of lists. All are very much impact of still under the bound of karma, and they can false back. They can false back, something like that. I don't know. Did I understand the question? Did I answer something? Make sense?
Again, I think that I guess the question was whether the formless and form is not inside the picture. Is it inside the picture or is not inside the picture?
So there are, how to say, you have to consolidate within that frame.
So it's contented. It is contented. Okay.
Contented.
Okay.
So, are they form and formless realm to be reborn in those realms? Besides doing good positive karma, is there any other things beyond that one need to do, like the meditation, absorption, things like that, to be reborn there? Because in most karma chapter, they don't mention reborn into form and formless, and they kind of saying positive karma born in the desire realm God, desire realm demigod. These are because they are non-desire realm. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Yes, you need the extra kind of accumulation of causes, very much in relation to concentration. So very much their level, the higher to the highest stage, all the way up to the peak of samsara. The God at the level of peak of samsara, on top of general karma, the level they achieve in relation to the detachment to the minor kind of comfort, then desire to the higher level of peace, through concentration, and by engaging in the application, by engaging in the abiding in those peace, those concentration, then they transit from that level to the next level of the realm. So there are many, like 4, 8, and there's so many levels. So yes, in short, you require extra accumulation of causes, and which is very much through the engaging in the practice of concentration. Yeah. So the main cause is concentration on top of the general karma.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I think in Lamrim, there's a huge list. There's a long list.
这个师姐我大概翻译一下这个师姐的问题，就是说这个在这个六禅天中，我看到这个轮回中，我们所谓有色天和无色天是否也包含在这个天界呢？因为在图片里面没有看到有色天和这个无色天。那么这个回答是说呢，当然我们所谓这个有色天和无色天，它也是这个轮回中的一份子，也是所谓这个山真上升的这个算是天界的这个和天界有关的一个也包含在里面的意思了，已经包含在里面。当然呢，这个有色天、无色天的这个要获得有色天，特别是无色天呢，那是有禅定的这个功夫，因为这个禅定的功夫呢，才会得到这样的一个果位。比如这个有色天、无色天，并或有这个四天、四禅天、八禅天等等不同的层次。它的这个起因呢是有禅定的这个功夫，但是呢，这个总概来讲呢，它这个还是在这个轮回之中，还是在这个有漏的轮回之中，所以也是最后也是最后的它的本质也是苦，也是无常，也是会断灭，因此呢也是一个要去处理的，我大概这个意思。
Yeah. So you see, from desire realm, So the 3 realm of 6 type of transmitted being and samsara, formless realm, peak of self-existing, nothingness, infinite consciousness, limitless space. Yeah, so there's all those lists. It still comes within within the being in the samsara. Yes, then the main cause to actualize them, the concentration in the first absorption, concentration to the higher level, the second absorption, third absorption, fourth absorption, then yes, like that.
大家的意思就想说，
OK
这个无色天，它是因为它也是在六道之中，所以它的究竟还是这个轮回之中。那当然，这个无色天它的这个成就呢，是有这个一禅、二禅、三禅等等的禅修的果位进入这个无色天，但是它还是在六道轮回之中。
Yeah. So in short, the concentration is the one that which define different stages of the God realm in relation to this three world, the God of the three world.
所以
beside the main impact of the karma.
在这个图片中呢，我们就是以天界呢，整个天界的这个范围呢，作为一个总的代表。那么进入这个无色天界呢，都是以禅定的功夫，当然是以初禅、二禅、三禅、四禅、五禅等等以禅定的功夫进入天界，就是进入天界啊，它的起因但是还是在轮回之中，重点是还是在轮回之中。
Okay.
Thank you, Geshe.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we do short dedication. Yeah, we dedicate the merit as exactly like how the Bodhisattvas, Manjushri, Bodhisattva Sammanbhadra would dedicate, and how our gurus would dedicate whenever they accumulate merit. We too dedicate just like that.
那么我们把今天的共修的学习的这个功德呢，如同这个文殊普贤菩萨如何回向，我亦如是如何回向，向所有的上师他们这样子一样的去回向这样的功德给一切如母有情。
So I do some prayers, then you can do individual dedications that you have.
那么在格西在念诵回向文的时候，我们每一个在坐下可以做个别的回向。
Jawadi nyudo da lama zanje do byone do waji jamale bade sala go barai jo janju zemjo remboje maje panam ke joje jawanya ba me bayang gone gondo pebra jo tongni dawa remboje maje panam ke joje jawanya ba me bayang gone gondo pebra jo remye dawa remboje maje panam ke joje jawanya ba me bayang gone gondo pebra jo jojo lame ko zerab de janam ga dele jojo jamba da losa tembe to mesa Dove Muzeta do Jejo, Tuzo Chanji Jango Jave, the Zinjon Bebe Kuzo Dobo, Chozon Kobe, Lemon to Doba, Daso do Jekondo Shabdensho. Pama Zemjedam Jeden, and then Jojang and Rodam Jetado, Don, the Janjo Zembagana, Sujoba, the Dagunje, Monam, Juro, Chomde, the Jabata, Jombayana, but Sanjana, Jabala Chans, but Joseph Zambolancha. Diadom is a deal with the nazum, the damages of diadom is a deal with the nazum, the damages of diadom is a deal with the nazum, the damages of diadom is a deal with the nazum, the damages. Diadom is a deal with the nazum, the damages of diadom is a deal with the nazum, the damages of diadom is a deal with the nazum, the damages of Chumne, the danger of Rajman, the Bats of Sanjay. No, the Mola, the Gerardo de Jabona, Chazelo, Mejo Javajana, the Tendelo, maybe, but the Tajan Hassan, the Namda, maybe. Nego dojo jebedan zo amigo be jenu bazam je simjera wa ko de samba chejen de be ta shi ju temba ji den kam zo ba temba ni be shin do zo ma denze polo shin do temba yure ne be ta shi ju ni mon de le zen de le ni me ko yan de le ji ni ta do de le be kun jo sun ta shi yo. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Please take good care. Thank you.
谢谢大家 ，Thank you very much, Geshe again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Geshe.
Thank you.